Our Story Productions presents the Cocklebur Morning Show, where we weed out the big stories from throughout Sweet Swine County with Bobby Ray and Sally Sue.
Thank you. Welcome to the Cocklebur Morning Show. How are you, Sally Sue?
Oh, honey, I am fabulous.
Oh, I'm sure you are. You know, I've been reviewing the shows that we've done over the last year.
Yeah.
And you know what? We are coming up on our first anniversary.
Really? Already?
Yes.
It's
I'm telling you. And I have discovered that we have become bigger than just about every other show in Sweet Swine County.
Well, of course, what do you expect?
Most of the guest reports are from outside Sweet Swine County, as compared to, what's that other little piddly spin-off they've got? What is that?
The women?
The women, the female thing,
Yeah,
the women of Sweet Swine County.
Yeah.
What a bore.
I know.
What a bore.
I know.
But we shine like a star, I tell you. Anyway, Sally Sue, maybe we need to do a name change.
What? A name? Why? Why a name change?
Well, how does this sound? The International Cocklebur Morning Show.
The International?
Mm-hmm.
You just want to go on another trip.
I was thinking about it. I'd love to, Sally.
Yeah. Well, you know, speaking of which, why don't you tell us about your
I'd love to.
great weekend?
Yes, I would, because here is another
Bobby Ray's Weekend Adventures.
Well, Sally Sue, I had the opportunity to go to Walnut Grove.
Oh, nice.
Nice, very nice, yes. Now, just for our viewers, I'll go through our notes here.
Okay.
Walnut Grove is located in the southwest corner of Redwood County. Mm-hmm. Known nationwide as the childhood home of Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Yes.
Visitors can learn about this famous author through numerous community activities and events there on the banks of Plum Creek.
I've gone there.
So have I.
It's been
And I loved it.
wonderful. I did too.
The town also offers quality schools, volunteer fire and rescue, beautiful parks and recreation, and a quiet small town lifestyle. Walnut Grove invites you to enjoy a little history here on the prairie. It's a great community. It really is. I especially like the little covered wagon they have there. I was able to get up inside and get a few pictures taken.
I was really interested on the bank of Plum Creek where the house was going to be. Excellent.
It has.
Very good.
I have gone there with other people, been to the museum. It's really, it's very interesting. And then you have the highway that goes across, Laura Ingalls Wilder Highway, which is very interesting.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Well, Sally Sue, there you have it. Just another great week and another great weekend with
Bobby Ray's Weekend Adventures.
That was great.
Thank you.
Oh, that must have been so fun.
It was a great time.
Oh, wonderful. Well, why don't we bring out our guest?
Absolutely.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, from the county of Martin, the town of Fairmont, we have, as our guest, Don Oechsle.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's so nice to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Outstanding, yes.
Don, we know that you're involved in something very special. Could you tell us what it is and a little bit about it?
Well, about 25 years ago, I had this brainstorm of doing kids pedal tractor pulls.
Really?
And I was visiting with a lady in Welcome who was putting together a celebration, and she says, there's nothing for 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old kids to do at a celebration but
true.
a fish pond and an air bag and everything. And I said to her, well, if I put together a pedal tractor pull, will you book it? Well, we're going to be doing the 25th year in Welcome this summer.
Really?
She's been with the Welcome's been with me all 25 years I've been in this business. So that's how it came about.
Wow. And I know this is going to sound very ignorant of me, but I have to ask, what you're speaking of with a pedal pull then is the small tractors that the kids use like almost like a tricycle or a bicycle. They sit on and pedal it.
Correct. The kids are the motors.
And then they do a pull much like you would have the adults doing a real tractor pull.
Just like your antique tractor pulls and your super hot rod pulls and your pickup pulls, we miniatured a skid.
I was going to ask, what do they pull?
We miniatured a skid, and it works on the same principle. And as they pull down the track, the weight gets up heavier pulling, and it's how far you can pull whatever weight's in the bucket.
What are the competitive levels in the pedal pull, and how do Minnesota kids do compared to others? I'm just curious.
Well, we got some awesome kids in Minnesota, and we've had every year. I got thinking on that subject today. I've been helping with the National 23 years now. And in that 23...
There is a national pedal pull? Wow. Okay.
In that 23 years, our Minnesota kids have ruled on the trophies. On the first few years, there was about 54 trophies given, and we were bringing about 15 to 20 of them back to Minnesota. Last year, out of 96 trophies, we brought 31 back to Minnesota.
Wow, that's great.
The closest state to us was Iowa with 9. And that just shows how competitive our kids. The National is held in Mitchell, South Dakota at the Corn Palace.
Okay.
The kids have to win first, second, or third at a state level in order to go to the National. We had 54 kids eligible to go last year. 48 went, and 31 trophies come back to Minnesota.
That's great.
Wow.
And what levels of competition? By ages,
We
I presume?
pull by age.
Okay.
4-year-olds pull against 4, 5 against 5,
Okay.
6 against 6, up to 11.
Up to 11
So
years
we have
old.
8. I personally do a fun pull for all those kids 3 and under. I give them a ribbon. None of them really pedal, but I push them 5, 6 feet and get them used to the tractors. And I look at that. That's my future. You know, that's going to be my
sure.
customers of
Absolutely.
tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And they have a good time.
How
Do they now? I just have to ask another question. You say it's national, the national pedal pull. How many states?
There's 17 in our national organization.
Are you the only one that does a pedal pull in this area?
I have 14 pullers in the state of Minnesota
In the
that do
state of-
sanctioned pulls here in Minnesota.
Such as what you do.
Such as I do.
I'll be doggone.
And they're all busy.
Now you said sanction pull, so
Yeah.
there's a criteria that you have to meet. No one,
Well-
I mean, Bobby Ray couldn't go get a bunch of pedal pulls and do it.
He can sanction them though, or he can't. Sanction means that the first and second place winner of that pull can advance to the state.
Is there anything special that a community has to do to become sanctioned? How do they
No.
become sanctioned?
They send in $25 to me, and
Okay.
then they get the forms, and they have to fill out the forms and send them back to me. So, because that day up there, the kids, that's the only time the kids have to show their birth certificate and proof of age.
Okay.
That and the
Okay,
national,
that makes
they
sense.
have
Yeah,
to.
that does. The equipment that's used, how do people acquire this equipment?
Yeah, is it special? Do they have to have certain types or?
Well, there's some things, like your tractors have to have both wheels tied as a positive traction, otherwise it pulls off sideways.
Okay.
You couldn't just take
Okay.
anybody's tractor and bring it in.
Okay.
And I learned that the hard way, because the first one I done wasn't that way, and you know, I personally manufacture it and sell it.
Really?
And I've on my 4th generation of skids. My first skid worked so good, I built another one thinking I'd make it easier, and I made it harder. Then about 2 years later, I developed the one I have now. And
what's
really
that
recommend-
made from? Don?
Aluminum.
Aluminum?
I've got it down so the skid only weighs about 95 pounds.
I'll be doggone.
So it's very compact. I control how far the kids are going to pull and stuff just because of the weight you put in. And my philosophy has been not how much weight they pull, but how little of weight it takes to stop them. So my whole philosophy. And then I took and instead of just putting a tractor out there, I started gearing and building my tractors for each age group.
Okay.
You know, I don't build a tractor and say I'm going to stick this in 7-year-olds. I build a tractor for 7-year-olds.
Oh, different
Because they
heights.
have, well,
Yeah.
that and they have different leg lengths.
Leg length,
yeah.
sure.
But a different gear ratio. A 7-year-old's more powerful than a 6-year-old, so
Correct.
I gear it up a little more, so they're going to work harder.
An 11-year-old
They're
is
probably going to
powerful,
use
yep.
the same energy as a 6-year-old done, but it's done through gearing.
That makes sense.
And I've discovered when I done that, I discovered for every gear I change, I can take 50 pounds out of the box. So,
How far do you travel to do these pedal pulls?
well, last year I clocked 27,000 miles.
My goodness.
I wear a vehicle out every 4 years.
My
Do
goodness.
you have a boundary, or will you go wherever?
I haven't found that boundary yet. I have a mileage charge and a fee, and
Business
if the money comes and stuff, I did have a phone call last year from Stewart, Florida. The Martin County Fair down there wanted me.
Oh,
Martin County, they have a Martin
They have
County
a Martin
down
County
there?
Fair.
Really?
They had called up here and got
How
my name
neat.
from the Martin County Fair out here, but I didn't go. It was in February.
yeah.
1,600 miles from Fairmont to Stewart.
wow.
Back to the equipment, I've sold equipment as far away as Virginia. I've had people call me on my equipment. You know, when I first came out with the skid I use now, everybody laughed at it, but every year I get 3 or 4 people come by. I have one guy, he called me up one day and his skid was broken and wanted to know if he could borrow one, so I loaned him one. Monday morning he calls me up and says, Don, I thought you were my friend, but he says, I know after this you're not. And I said, why? I helped you out this weekend and everything. and you're telling me I'm not your friend? He says, you knew the minute I used your skid I'd have to have one. So he says, can you have me 2 of them by the end of the summer? So I had to build him 2 skids.
That's great. You have any success stories of kids that you'd like to share, or anything that pops into your mind?
Well, every year I get a success story, and that's what makes us so happy. And I guess the reason I look so forward to doing this is because every year I have the success story. Every year I've helped somebody. I'll tell you the first one that we ever have happen was out here in the Fairmont parking lot, the first year we ever done the state pull. The girl was about 7 years old. She was from Monogamy, Minnesota. She come up to my wife, and she says, she won first place. Okay. She come up to my wife, she says, she stuttered. And she says, Mrs. Oechsle, she says, at school all the kids laugh and make fun of me every day.
Oh.
And when they have a sporting event, they never pick me.
Oh.
But tomorrow, when I show them this first place trophy, they're not going to laugh at me. Today, she's an RN.
Oh.
It changed her grade around. It changed her whole attitude around. And, you know, it just went.
That's outstanding.
She won something, you know, and she went on to be a state champion. That time, she went on to be a national champion also.
Outstanding.
Then Lucenter, the dad, he always come up. My wife always filled out the forms, and he would sign. And he told me, he said, the girls like doing this, but they've never won. I said, well, one of these days they're going to win one, and you're not going to stop these girls. And sure enough, one of them got a third place trophy at one of the pulls I done. Because this parent brought them to several pulls within probably a 50-mile radius of where they lived. And pretty soon they became very dominant in their age, and they went on to win the national and everything else. And both of these girls went from being D students in school to A students, and today are in the nursing field also.
Outstanding.
They work with.
That's great.
I don't know how you do anything better
than
that.
The last one that I've bring up, we had a young gal that started pulling with us. Her grandpa and grandma brought them to us. And she took third place at the state, and she couldn't go to national because only first and second at that time could go to national. Well, the first place backed out of going, that one to go, so that opened it up for third place. But we're 3 days from going to the national now. And my wife says, oh, I'm not going to call them because they won't go. I said, well, you don't call the parents. You call Grandpa and Grandma. Grandpa and Grandma lived in Albert Lee. We called Grandpa and Grandma says, she'll be there. And she went on. And anyway, she went on, and after, when they turned 12, they can't do it anymore.
Right.
Well, she went into the softball league in the Minneapolis softball deal. Her team took first place because she was a pitcher, and her mother says, we tell everybody it's because of the pedal pulls because she's so calm on the mound. She tunes out everybody and anything, and she pitched to the championship of the city league.
That's really great.
And that was the reason she was so cool and calm on the mind.
That's cool.
Now, how would someone, if they wanted to schedule you, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, how'd they go about that?
Well, you can call me at 235-5026, area 507, or go on to my email is dspedalpulls@bevcom.net, and get hold of me that way. And,
nice.
Okay.
So.
Well, Don, it's been a pleasure to have you here today. It's exciting to know that there are those types of events for children when a lot of times there aren't a lot of things for children. You should be very proud and very gratified by what's taken place. We are, and we had an honor this year. The Fair Board, State Fair Board, give out 2 Friends of the Fair every year. And we were the recipient this year, and one of the comments the guy made presented to it, there's been no one act that's been booked 25 years into the same fair. And we do the Martin County Fair this year for the 25th year. Well, Sally Sue, I think we've got something to go and watch this year.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. I would like to
It'd be
see.
fun to
I'd like
see.
to see the kids do that. That would be great.
I would like to invite you to our state pull.
And that is in Hutchinson?
In September 11th in Hutchinson.
Gentlemen, before we go.
Yes.
I think it's time for one of our most popular segments, and you both would love it.
Yes, yes.
It's called The Memoirs of a Librarian.
You know, Sally, the way you say that, I really want to go to the library.
There you go.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay.
Would you like to learn more about a community you're visiting? Then stop into their library. Hello, I'm Caroline, a librarian who's doing research for my book, Memoirs of a Librarian. No huge city library can compare with the coziness of the small-town libraries in southern Minnesota, with their rich history and commitment to providing information and entertainment to their patrons. Today we'll be visiting the town of... The Fulda Reading Club was organized in 1898 and shortly thereafter established in an informal library in Fulda. At first, the books were kept on a shelf in the Anderson Variety Store. Over the years, the library has expanded into the Fulda Memorial Library, moving into its current location in 1970. The Friends of the Fulda Memorial Library Group was formed in 1997, with the purpose of raising funds to expand the current library building. In 2002, the library expanded into a space about double the size of the original building. A member of the Plum Creek Library System, the library has 16,000 print items, 1,500 audio-visual items, and 5 public computers with free access to the Internet for patrons. With a yearly circulation of 34,000 items, the library has 3 part-time and 2 student staff members. The library also hosts summer reading programs for children and winter reading programs for adults. The Fulda Memorial Library is located at 101 3rd Street Northeast and is open Monday and Thursday, 12 o'clock noon to 6 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 noon to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You may contact the library at 507-425-3277 during those hours, or check out the Plum Creek Library website at www.plumcreeklibrary.org. Well, this has been a wonderful experience, and I hope you visit this library soon. As for me, I'll be sure to include it in my book, Memoirs of a Librarian.
Now that, you have to admit, that was a great report.
Yeah, darn right it was.
Yes,
I'm
it
impressed.
was. Yes.
Well, we want to thank Don for being our guest today. We'd also like to thank our viewers for watching the Cocklebur Morning Show. And, as Sally Sue tries to say each time, that's where we weed out the big stories from throughout Sweet Swine County. Right?
Excellent.
Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.